So you're a religious leader and you're asking a question. What should I be asking the people that I work with who are dealing with pornography or sexual addiction? I'm going to give you some very specific questions that I have found helpful as a therapist and also as a religious leader. One of the first questions I ask is, once they've told me they've been involved with pornography or sexually acting out, I ask this question. Tell me about your background. When did it first start? How old were you? And if you're like most religious leaders, you're finding out that they're getting involved with pornography at very early ages, sometimes as early as 6 or 7 or 8. But did you know that over 50% are exposed by the time they're age 13? That's a significant starting point. And if they have a long history of involvement with pornography, they're going to need more support. So the question, how long have you been viewing pornography, is a really important question. And if they've been looking for over half their life, age 11, now they're 22, or they're in their 30s, that's a big deal because the research shows that earlier introduction typically leads to more addictive behaviors. So you want to know their history, how long they've been involved. Other questions that you might find very helpful. What kind of a family did they grow up in? Did they have a lot of family support, or did they feel very disconnected from their family? If they were disconnected, didn't feel close to their parents, that kind of environment adds to addictive behaviors. Now, the other part of it, if their parents were kind and loving, but they couldn't talk with their parents, that can really add to their shame. So in those situations, you might be looking at things like, are they overly anxious? Because if they're overly anxious, they might be turning to pornography to deal with the anxiety. So these are just some underlying questions. You want to understand their family background. The next part that you're going to want to ask them is their frequency. This is a very important question. Individuals who are viewing pornography 3 to 5 times weekly or more are more prone to have depression, anxiety, elevated stress, and their loneliness scores are higher than most of the general population. So if they are spending a lot of time, 3 to 5 times a week or more, viewing pornography, that's a big deal that you might want to assess depression, anxiety, those types of stress. You're going to guess that those are also a part of their lives. Now, the other part is how much time they're spending viewing pornography. If they're spending hours at a time, that's a very important thing to be aware of, because what it means is they're going to need more support than probably what you can give them by yourself. If it's a long period of time, I would say anything more than 15 minutes to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, as it gets on, they're typically going to be acting out multiple times. And what that means is it's very much a binge focus, and they're just trying to get as much high as possible. That's a big deal. Now, if you're saying, okay, let me organize this in my brain, you want to understand the frequency, how often, and how long each episode lasts. And then finally, I'm going to ask you to ask them this question. How much are they thinking about it? If in their mental background it's running often, let's say if you ask this question, how much of your discretionary or free time is spent thinking about pornography or sexually acting out? And they tell you that they're thinking about it 30, 40, 50, even up to 80% of the time of their free time. That means it's becoming more dominant on their mind and they need a lot of support. So those are just 5 simple things that I would invite you to ask them right off the bat as soon as they come in and you build a rapport with them. Those questions will really help you understand and give you a clearer direction of what you can do to help them.